we go. Our 4 steps. That's what I promised you, right, on the title slide. You're going to assess your environment and yourself, what's inside and what's outside, what's affecting you. We need to educate so that we can know what's possible, what strategies are out there, what are other people doing to make themselves successful. We need to make a plan, goals, write things down, and then, of course, we have to take action. So those are your 4 steps. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk tonight.
Okay.
We're going to dig in on this. So when you are assessing, and this is, by the way, this is based on, I didn't have this grand epiphany before I started, but looking back, I realized this is sort of my process, and these are the steps that I go through. So when you think about assessing, because a lot of times I'll talk to some newer investors, and they don't even know what they don't know. They don't know what they have. They don't know what the options are. So you've got to look at what's going on with you and what's going on around you. So some things that are going on with you might be your skills. Maybe you have contracting skills. Maybe you're really good at running numbers. Maybe you are a great negotiator. Whatever it might be, you should think about what are you good at. And a lot of times people don't stop and sit down and think about what are their strengths. Of course, education. If I want to go buy a multi-million-dollar property, but I don't know anything about it, I'm going to have a hard time doing it. So I need to read and get educated in a way that's going to help me get there. Or even just your first deal. If you don't know how to analyze the numbers or understand what cash flow is or what expenses you should be counting on, you need to know that. Experience. Some people have experience. Maybe it's being a contractor, or maybe they have experience working for their day job. They work at a bank, so they understand how to underwrite deals. Whatever it might be, you probably have some sort of experience that you can build on. I was a project manager. I am a project manager for now for a software company. So I have skills in running numbers, budgets, timelines, organizing people to get stuff done. So I use those skills from my day job in my real estate, of course. So think about what experience you have, mostly from your day job or hobbies or whatever it might be, that you can leverage. That also could be, talking about education and experience, could be geographical based. Maybe you grew up on the next block in Trenton, so you know every single thing about that block and that whole neighborhood. That's a valuable asset that you should be thinking about, because you know what's changing, what's happening. That's pretty valuable to think about. And the last one is vision for internal, because a lot of people don't necessarily think about where they're going and what their vision is and why. And we're going to talk about vision a little bit. But if you don't have that big plan, the big vision, then it's going to be hard to figure out, why am I going to buy this property if it doesn't line up with your vision and your goals and your plan. So external, things that are outside of your mind, cash, right? How much cash do I have? Do I have $0 to my name? I started off, I had about $20,000 in the bank account, so okay, that's a good start, but that's why I went to Trenton, because I knew that if I was going to put 25% down and have closing costs and stuff, my property had to be $80,000 or less. Quick Zillow search across New Jersey, pretty much Trenton, right? For cash flow and for any sorts of properties like that. Income as well. If you have a good steady income, then you'll be able to get a bank loan, most likely. If you have no income coming in, that's going to be a little bit harder, and you need to then pursue other avenues. Your living situation is pretty important. A lot of folks starting out, if they're living alone or they're renting, a house hack might be a perfect opportunity for you. If you're married, with kids, dog, whatever, maybe you can't go live in a triplex and rent out the other units, so you have to take that into consideration. Maybe you're living in a place that's got a huge mortgage and property tax bills, or maybe you're living in a place where you can save a little money. So just something to think about, your environment there. Of course, we have to look at the real estate market, both on a micro level, block by block, and a macro level, what's happening in the market as a whole, and our finance options. Because based on our income and our cash, and do I qualify for a loan? I knew that I could go. I got pre-qualified, so I was able to put down $16,000 or something on the deal and get a loan at 5% or whatever it was, and that worked for me. But maybe you have a different scenario. Maybe you can get a better term. Maybe you can borrow $500,000 right now. Who knows, right? You got to figure that out. And finally, it's your connections. By coming here, coming to this meeting, you're going to build up your connections, going to the other meetings in the area. Connections from meetings like this are, I bought deals from people I've met, I borrowed money from people, I've sold deals to people I've met from these meetings. So your network is very, very important, very key, so that when you're putting together your plan for how to get your first deal. And maybe you have none, and that's okay. Or maybe you have a connection to a contractor, or maybe you have a connection to a realtor who can help you learn the neighborhood, like I did. So this is our list, everything we just went over. And I'm going to tell you about my story. So for me, I had pretty good numbers analysis skills. I told you that's MGMT management, so I was a project manager, so I organized people to get stuff done. I had what I felt like was enough education. I've been reading on Bigger Pockets for a long time, coming to a lot of meetings, and I felt like I could run the numbers on the deal, and I was pretty comfortable with how real estate worked, at least in the single-family market that I wanted to get into. I had zero experience in real estate. That was it. I looked. I didn't know anyone in construction. I didn't have any experience building things. I didn't have any experience as a realtor. I barely knew, the basics from an experience perspective. So I had to rely on the people that I knew and the people that I was meeting to help me out with that regard. But my vision is still what drives me. And the vision is time with family for me. And it's something that drives everything that I do, because at the end of the day, I want to build a business that's self-sustaining so that I can go spend time with my family. I have a 7-month-old son, who's awesome, but I'm out here tonight, working, doing this. I work all day. So eventually, I know in the long term, I'm going to get there. So I just keep reminding myself about my vision. So looking external, like I said, I had about $20,000 saved up from working and saving over time. I had steady income coming in from my job, which was great, so I could qualify for a loan. I was married, so my wife had zero interest in getting a duplex or triplex and renting out the other half. I said, no problem, that's great. That's just the situation, no big deal. I just work around it. The real estate market was on its way up. Like I said, it was like 2013, so coming out of the crash, things are going up. Hard to really buy a bad deal a few years ago, and there were more of them out there as compared to right now. And I've already touched on this, but I qualified for a traditional bank loan. And my last thing was I found an investor-friendly realtor. This guy, I called a bunch of brokers in the area. Someone's at the door in the back. I called a bunch of brokers, agents in the area, and I said, look, I'm going to be looking at a lot of property. I don't exactly know what I'm doing. I know in theory, but not in practice. Yeah, exactly. Actually, that happened a lot, by the way. I said I'm going to be an investor, so then that got a lot of hang-ups.
We'll call you back.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm going to be an investor in
Give
Trenton.
me your number,
Yeah.
and I'll reach out.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened. And by the way, I'm going to be making really low offers because I don't have much money. It has to be. I literally only have this much
Too
money.
honest.
Yeah. No, but my theory is be honest because I don't want to waste anyone's time. And if I do get someone to sign on with me, they know what they're in for, right?
Yeah.
And I did. I called one broker, and she said, I got the guy. I know the guy. He owns property in Trenton. He's an agent. He's an investor. He'll be able to talk you through it. And so that we went off, right? I interviewed the guy. We talked. He said, absolutely, I can help you out. He sort of took me under his wing, and off we went. Driving down the street and that street and all the neighborhoods around here. I knew nothing about Trenton. I didn't know anyone in Trenton at that time. And I knew that a lot of crime happened in Trenton, but I didn't really know much else, but except that price to rent ratios were pretty good from what I was looking at. So we drove through all the neighborhoods. He told me where he invested. He told me, he had other investor clients. He told me where they invest. We talked about areas to avoid, areas that might be okay, and he really, really took his time with me. And so then I was able to use that connection to help me find a deal. He also helped me analyze the deal and sort of walk me through it. So very good connection that I made so that I could get this deal done, because he was instrumental in getting that very first deal done. It's not something that you have to have out of the gate, but something that a connection you can make here or through hustling and making a lot of phone calls, dealing with all the hang-ups. It happens. It's part of it. So who wants to share their version of this? Someone that's looking for their first or next deal. Who wants to take a stab at it?